Hey everybody, it's Lauren. I didn't post a video last week because I was at Mystic South and time just got away from me. And anyway, I don't know. It was a lot. And anyway, hello. It's nice to see you. I want to talk about Mystic South in this video, and I want to talk generally about festivals, and I want to kind of gush at you about community. That's what this video is about. Hello. I'm not sure what's going on here. I'm still really tired, and you can probably hear I'm getting my voice back. I'm just like out of practice talking to rooms of people, I think is what it is. So for those of you who don't know, Mystic South is a large magical witchcraft pagan event in Atlanta, Georgia. It's annual, but because of the pandemic and things being pushed back, it had been since, I think, 2019, since we'd last had a Mystic South. I think they call it a conference. Festival isn't quite the right word either. I'm not really sure what to call these events. It used to be, and these still exist, but people would talk about pagan festivals. And a lot of the times that would refer to an outdoor event, something like a Starwood or a Free Spirit gathering, where folks had tents and there was outdoor rituals. And in the last few years, we've shifted to an indoor hotel model. I'm actually not sure how long the hotel thing has been going on. I know that PantheaCon that was an older event. How many PantheaCons did we have? I don't know, like decades worth of them, right? And I'm sure that there are other hotel-based events that are also older. But to me, it felt like a very sort of new model because I was used to going to outdoor events. So PantheaCon in like 2015 was my first experience with a hotel-based festival. And they have a very different sort of feel. But conference also feels weird to me too, because I have an academic background. So to me, conference means like getting antsy about presenting a research paper and like having to dress in business casual and remember what business casual even is, because who knows? So conferences to me feel like less fun things. So I don't know what it was. It was a shindig. It was a hullabaloo. It was something, but it was great. I hadn't been to an event in a while, I think about a year. And I used to go to a lot of things. And actually I had kind of been planning on taking like a Thorn Mooney presenter sabbatical in 2020. I had made agreements to appear at events through 2019 and I wanted to take a break. I knew that I was getting ready to move. My dad was sick. There was all kinds of things going on in my life and I needed a break. And then the pandemic hit and a lot of things got shifted back. So I never took that event sabbatical that I meant to. I'm going to take it, I think, in 2023 because I'm starting school and events are amazing, but they take a high toll just in terms of the energy it takes to travel. There is cost associated with participating in those things. And I just needed a break. But it was amazing to get to see everybody. Mystic South this year was, I think, one of the best events maybe I've ever been to. And I think a big part of it was just like pandemic exhaustion and not having seen so many people in so long. The coolest thing by far was getting to meet people who I had befriended online during the pandemic, and in some cases become really close to, but had never met IRL. People flew from all over the place. People drove from all over the place. I got to meet friends from California, from Iowa, from New York. It was amazing. That was the best part by far, was just like those moments in between when you're talking to people in the halls. And then at night, of course. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, but I presented 3 workshops/talks while I was there. And that's always a really fun experience. I really enjoy presenting. It's very gratifying, I must say, like being a trained classroom teacher, which means especially teaching like older students. So I primarily focused on high school age students. I primarily worked with 11th graders, but I've also been an adjunct at a university. So like I've worked with undergraduates, and I've had a lot of training about like how to run a classroom and how to work with kids and how to like blah, 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 whatever, like stuff that just a lot of the times doesn't actually work on teenagers, because the thing about these kids is, of course, that they're not there voluntarily. So, and they definitely don't want to be there reading like The Great Gatsby with you. Okay. So a lot of the techniques that they teach you in like teacher college don't work sometimes. So it's very gratifying taking that skill set and applying it to adults who it works with beautifully, like self-selected people in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, who will do all of the goofy classroom things with me that my kids, when I would try to do it with them, would just look at me with their like dead haunted eyes. Right. So like the adults will do like the turn and talk, and they'll do like the clapping thing to bring the attention back. And it just made me feel like my classroom teacher experience was not in vain. Thank you, everybody, for being so just engaged with my goofy, like, she's obviously accustomed to working with children style of teaching. I did a workshop on tarot, which was really fun. I don't think that I'm widely known as a tarot reader in YouTube or like social media as a whole, just because that's not something that I focus on. I've worked as a professional reader before. I briefly had a website, and it just ended up not being my thing to work professionally as a tarot reader. But tarot is something that's very, very important to me. I've spent a lot of time studying and practicing tarot. I have a lot of feelings about esoteric tarot, like as a category. And it's very cool being able to bring that to a festival audience when it's not something that I would necessarily put on YouTube. So what else did I do? I did a workshop about, I've got a workshop that I've developed based on my book, The Witch's Path, which is about like burnout and setting boundaries and developing a regular practice and kind of taking next steps when you're feeling stuck. And that's a really good one. And that's also the workshop that I get the most kind of anxiety before I teach, just because it feels like this really significant subject. And it's one of the only workshops that I do where I don't have like props. Like with a tarot class, like everybody has cards in their hand. I do a Book of Shadows / magical record keeping / journaling workshop, and that's very tactile too. Like people come with their pens and we talk about paper and we talk about all of those like lovely physical things. And the Witch's Path workshop is just like you trapped in a room with my brain. Woe be to you. So that one always makes me nervous, but all of them went really well. I'm very unaccustomed to speaking to a large group of people anymore. So there's like a physical element to voice projection that I just have not practiced in a long time. So I lost my voice really rapidly. But it was amazing. What else? I helped Jason Mankey in a ritual. Jason is a really talented ritual writer as a whole, but particularly in a public setting. Like it's a special skill set to be able to take like 80 randos who walk into a big room and do something magical with them when you don't know anything about their prior magical experience. That's really, really hard. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of like big public rituals tend to not work very well for whatever reason. Jason really just has like that on lock. So it was cool to be helpful in that ritual. And one of the things that I love about ritual at conferences, festivals, and events, kind of regardless of like how effective they are for me personally, I love watching people have their first ritual experiences. And for a lot of people who come to events, not only is it the first time that they're like with a bunch of people, maybe doing group ritual, because that's true for a lot of people. But for many, it's the first time they're doing any sort of ritual at all. They've come to this event and they are excited about witchcraft or magic or paganism or something. Maybe they're reading a lot of books. They've been watching stuff on social media. But it takes a lot to kind of take those initial first steps. And a festival is a great way to do that. And it's so exciting being in a room in ritual space, kind of regardless of the level of that ritual, and seeing people experience it for the first time. That's like the best thing, one of the best things in the world. It's so cool. People have really profound experiences, and often it doesn't look anything like the experience that I might have as a facilitator or another participant or whatever my role is in the thing. Like, people really come in with different experiences and they leave with different kind of understandings of what happened. And I think that that's really amazing. What else was cool? Calden, the famed Calden, the author, traditional witch. Keldon showed up with his ukulele, and it was amazing because I had a guitar and I hadn't played guitar in a really long time. Keldon just has this really sort of like brazen style with a ukulele where he's like, let's just look up the lyrics and see what happens. Right. And it's amazing. He'll do like YouTube, not YouTube, but Instagram lives of him playing whatever. And David Salisbury was there, who I've always thought was like super cool and suspected that we would be good friends. And lo and behold, it was so. But we're kind of like from the same era of like 90s pop music. So there was a lot of like the Buffy soundtrack and Michelle Branch. And like, it was what I needed after a pandemic. After a pandemic? During a pandemic? What even is happening? I don't know, but it was great. Michelle Branch, it turns out, is what I needed. What else? It's always really cool getting to either meet for the first time or hang out or talk to people who I have respected from afar for a while. So like Ivo Dominguez Jr. was there. Ivo is amazing at a ton of things. And I've met Ivo before, but it was just cool. It's always cool being in a space with him. What else? Shit, I don't know. Just like everything was so good. Everything was so good. The hotel is beautiful. We spent a lot of time outside. I got to hang out with my friends. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, something else too. I had my guitar, and I can't believe I forgot this. I had my guitar, and I got to play guitar on stage, which was really cool. So yeah, anyway, it was so good. It was so good. Nathaniel Johnstone, who, his partner is Laura Tempest Zakroff. Anyway, he's a brilliant musician. He does, like folk styles of music. He's actually really, really versatile. So I feel it's inadequate to even call him like a folk musician. He does so much. But he's a regular in like the pagan festival circuit, and he's a friend. And he and I had a conversation a couple of days before Mystic South, and he was like, hey, like, you're going to be there with a guitar. Like, how would you feel about accompanying me on some songs? And I was super duper anxious about it. He was opening for Tuatha Day. Maybe it's pronounced Tua Day. I don't know how to say those words. I've only read them. But they're great. And they were the headlining musical act at Mystic South. Nathan was opening, and anyway, I got the invite to play a little bit with him on stage. Very nervous about it because I haven't played in a long time, and it was super fun. It was super fun and very scary. But it really kind of opened the door for a lot of music over the course of the weekend, and made me think a lot about how, one of the reasons why I was nervous was because my background with music is, I don't know what you would say. Like, it's very structured and very organized. Like I went to music school. I played in like a big band and a jazz combo, and like I had like a classical ensemble. I've had a lot of training with the guitar, and some of it was just like very traumatizing. Like if you've ever been like a kind of a hardcore music student, like music kids are scary. And they're like a lot of not good things happened when I was actively pursuing music. So I have a lot of feelings about all of that stuff, and I put it down for a long time. And I was very nervous about performing because performing was always a really big deal. And I was talking to my friends about kind of the feelings I was having about getting up on stage. And one of the things that one of them said to me was something to the effect of like, what if you didn't think of it as a performance? What if you thought of it as like the way you do all of your YouTube videos? What if it was a conversation between you and your community? And it's about offering something and supporting each other and like coming together and leaving better. Like, isn't that what workshops are? Isn't that what everything we put online is? Like, this is me interacting with my community. And if you think of it as an exchange, then that totally changes the dynamic. And that alteration of perspective really made it a lot easier. And it left me feeling very supported, and much more willing to like make mistakes or like fail, in front of people. So that's a cool thing. It was nice having that reminder that one of the reasons we get together isn't just to take people who are really good at something, be they authors or presenters or teachers or musicians or whatever, and then like have all these other people come and just like watch them. Like that's not what's going on. Instead, it's about people coming together of all skill levels and experiences and offering these things to kind of the collective community, which means that everybody has the opportunity to give a workshop or share music or share ideas or whatever. And it's about coming together, I think, and learning from each other rather than just like people showing up and disseminating something and then disappearing. When you go to an event like this or when you participate in these communities, it's not just about what happens in the weekend. It's also everything beforehand and afterhand. Is that a word? Everything that goes into planning an event. You're part of those communities. And that's true whether it's something happening online or something happening like in physical space. Anyway, it was a great weekend. I'm very, very tired. And I'm very excited about starting school. And that is what is going on right now. So I'm going to drink coffee and it's time for me to jump into my day job. I have a meeting. I hope you all are well, and I will talk to you next time.